This house of hope. Baldur!
Hello guys and welcome. Today we're gonna be going through the Darkness Party's Beastmaster, and guys, this is amazing. I know that I've been dissing on the Rangers in the past.
Let me tell you something! Wait.
It appears like what they had to say actually has some meaning behind it, and let's get to it. I think this class, while it's gonna be able to do damage, there's so much potential with what the Beast can do, especially in the Darkness Party. So we're gonna go through all of that. If you enjoy the content, guys, like and subscribe, and stay tuned. At the end of the video we're gonna go through an example of how to cover the area in complete darkness. So first of all, the progression. I know it's very linear. There's a lot of levels in Beastmaster, but there's a reason for it. So for companions, I believe the strongest one would be Astarion, because other than the happy ability that you get, you can also do extra necrotic damage. Halsin is also a good pick because of the bear form that he has. Shadowheart, having that permanent bless effect on her after Act 2 also works very well with this build. And Minsk, for thematic purposes and because you get the Find Familiar Boo, which is a quite strong familiar. It's probably the strongest familiar you can get in the game. Now, let's look at stats and let's get straight to it. So for stats, put 14 points in Dexterity +2, 14 in Constitution, 12 in Intelligence, 16 in Wisdom. Now, you don't have to go in High Intelligence here. You could alternatively wear the Band of Intellect. So if you don't want to do that, just drop the points, put them wherever you want. I would put them in Intelligence, unless I was wearing the Headband of Intellect, where I would put the points in Strength. Now, for abilities, so get Acrobatics, get Stealth, and probably Perception is a good one since it's going to be a secondary character, or Nature or Investigation could work because they will help you discover items or interact with the environment. Okay, so let's look at the class abilities. First of all, for Favored Enemy, there's no other option. It's always Ranger Knight. Guys, you get the Heavy Armor Proficiency, you get that History Proficiency, we don't really care, but you get Heavy Armor where the other classes don't, and they don't really give you anything really important. Now, you could go for Beast Tamer, but we're gonna be getting Find Familiar from our Wizard spell slot over here, from our Wizard level, so we don't really need it. And we also have Boo, right? But if you wanna get it now and respec it down the line, that's also respectable. Yeah, it's not ideal. Now, I would consider Urban Tracker if you didn't have enough stealth members in the party, but remember, in this party we will have a lot of people very good with stealth and sleight of hand, so we don't really need that. So I would start out with fire resistance. Maybe poison one could be useful, but I think fire is the most important one, especially in Tactician. There's a lot of oil barrels that blow up in your face. So this is how I would start. Let's continue. So, level 2. So, guys, because you're a ranger, Hunter's Mark is gonna go a long way, especially in your early game fights. Speak with Animals is useful, but it's really up to you. Ensnaring Strike can be very good for crowd controlling, also for cloud. So it would be one of those two, or even Hail of Thorns. So Hail of Thorns is also a good AoE alternative. Always go for archery, but defense can also work. And if you really want to go into melee, guys, two-weapon fighting can work as well. I'm going to be playing this build mostly as an archer, so I'm going to be going for archery. And I think archer build is probably the best build for this one. Now, at level 3, you go Beastmaster. It's so much stronger than everything else, really. Considerably Gloomstalker, but it really gets outscaled. So go for Beastmaster, pick another spell of your choosing or liking. Even Goodberry can be good for long rests. And yeah, let's ping Longstrider just to check it. Yeah, and that's level 3. Okay, so it does work as a ritual, guys. So you can just get it then, because it's actually really important to have it. and to spam it on all of your allies and summons, right? Because you can summon your boo. At level 3, you have a lot of good options. So Spider is probably one of the strongest spells, especially when you go... Oops. She got mad. But yeah, Spider is very good for crowd control, and especially since you are ranged, you can use it to kite enemies. Alternatively, I don't like the Raven so much at this point in the game, but the Bear is also very strong. So if you really want to consider the Bear option, it's the tankiest one and it does alright damage. But again, I feel the Spider is so much stronger at this point in the game. Okay, and level 4 Ranger, you want to be picking up Sharpshooter. And, guys, it's good to know that at this point in the game, you should be wearing dual crossbows. Don't even consider anything else. Dual crossbows, because you can use your bonus action to do an extra attack every turn. Early game, you do a double attack with every attack that you do. So you can see. And once you get Sharpshooter, you get to do plus 15 damage on both of those attacks, plus 14 damage on both of those attacks. Okay, at level 5 you get your extra attack, not much to talk about that, but you also get a subclass feature called Companion's Bond, which effectively adds your proficiency bonus to your companion, essentially beast's armor class and damage rolls. And you get level 2 spells. My favorite one is Spike Growth. This works so good with your party. You're gonna be filling up the battlefield with darkness, and then you're gonna be casting Spike Growth. And whoever tries to navigate that battlefield where they can't see where they're going are gonna be getting damaged big time, and they can't even stay in one place because they can't see, so they can't shoot outside the darkness. Silence works very well with your Shadow Monk as well, right? So you can do Darkness and Silence or Darkness and Hail of Thorns at this point, so you're getting a really good deal. Now, at level 6, so for level 6, you get another Favored Enemy and another Natural Explorer. None of this is really essential, really, and none of this is gonna make or break the game. Bounty Hunter is probably the best one if you use Ensnaring Strike. Otherwise, I would probably go for Keeper of the Veil or Sanctified Stalker. Again, in Act 2, Radiant Damage is quite useful, so probably is the best one to go for, to get Sacred Flame. And I would also get Cold. Again, if you want to go Urban Tracker or Beast Tamer, you don't really need Beast Tamer, because you're going to be getting Wizard in the next level, and then you're going to get Find Familiar anyway. But yeah, Resistance to Cold is probably better than Poison, because there's already a ring that gives you Resistance to Poison. Sorry, this is level 6. Now let's go to level 7. Now, on level 7, you want to be picking a level in Wizard. For cantrips, well, it depends if you're using the Headband of Intelligence. If you're not using the Headband of Intelligence, don't pick any damage cantrips. Unless, maybe Ray of Frost can be useful, or Friends. Now, Mage Hand, again, very useful to have in any battle, but you have to precast it. Minor Illusion can be useful, because it can be used to group up your enemies together. Friends is good if you plan on stealing with this character, and then there's a chance that you're gonna be getting made, and then you have to persuade someone to let you go, so this could help. And Ray of Frost is good for creating surfaces. This is probably one of the best ones for creating surfaces. It's probably not worth losing your action over, so I would probably recommend going this way, but if you have high enough of an intelligence, you could go for Ray of Frost. Oh, oops, we didn't go through the spells. Okay, let me do that again. Okay, for wizard spells, you definitely want to have Long Strider if you don't know it as a ranger already. I would pick it nevertheless, and then I would forget it from my ranger spell list, because that's much more limited. I also love Shield. Shield is going to be an amazing spell for you. It's going to increase your armor class by 5 effectively. Find Familiar, of course. Grease is useful. Now, I like magic missiles because the utility of it, it will always hit, right? No matter what. So if you ever have to guarantee some damage on the enemy, this is very good. And Feather Fall, because it's a ritual and that's pretty useful. Again, this is very useful to making enemies fall prone, and the prone mechanic in this game is broken. And imagine having enemies inside darkness with Grease. It's just going to be crazy strong. Again, because our intelligence is so low now, we can only prepare one spell. But we can fix that very easily by equipping the Band of Intellect. Yeah, I'm not hoarding stuff. You are. Me? Nah. You're losing your mind. It's definitely not me. I never used these guys. I just loaded them throughout my entire campaign. I finished the game and I never used a single barrel that I gathered. Anyway. Well, at least I have them. So here it is. Yeah. Headbang of Intellect, Headbang, and then you can prepare whichever of the spells you like. Just a quick note, just a very quick note, because you're a wizard, you can learn any scroll up to any spell slot that that you have. So you can come to your wizard, press K, go to wizard, prepare spell or learn spell over here, and you can learn any level 3 spell that you up to level 3 spell that you have. This is why we take the wizard level. So you can learn all of these spells and then you can prepare them, even though you only have one level of wizard, right? So what you really want to be getting is haste. Oh, even animate dead could work, really. It's a very strong spell. Definitely you want to have shield prepared, right? Find familiar. If you don't go the Minsk crowd is going to be very useful. You'll get that extra. Yep, Long Strider, cast it on all your allies and then unprepare it. So do it. It's free, right? You cast it for free. It doesn't take a spell slot, as you can see. So it's a free buff. Cast it on all your allies and then unprepare it. Then Featherfall is really, you never need this in combat. Almost never need this in combat. Chris could be good and combines very well with Darkness. You could pick Darkness if you wanted to. And I would definitely pick a spell like Fireball and Haste so that you have options. So essentially getting that level in Wizard will give you so many options with the spells you can learn. Fear, I mean, great spell. If you plan to play this build in melee, Fear is one of the strongest spells you can get. You can get more cantrips, you can get Haste. Haste is the best one. And why is it good? Because you can cast Haste on your familiar, on your companion, excuse me. So we get the Raven Companion. And then you can cast Haste at it, and then it can create, can effectively make the entire battlefield darkness. Enjoy the content, like and subscribe, and comment what you think about this build. Okay, let's continue. On level 7, you get the subclass feature that your companions can now dash, disengage, and help as a bonus action. This is huge. This is very big. It means that your allies, your companion, can bring up an ally with just their bonus action, right? So this is really big. I know it might, and the dash part is gonna be useful down the line when we get our Raven, the Long Strider, since you already know it as a wizard now, right? On level 8, you get a Lance Strike. Difficult terrain no longer slows you. Nothing too great, and you also get a feat. Now for feats, the best feat in my opinion here is Alert, because the boost to initiative will be great for you. I would probably pick Alert. But again, alternatively, you can just put more points in Dexterity. Or you can just equip the Gloves of Dexterity, guys, if you don't want to, and put the points in Intelligence. And then you don't have to worry about the Headband of Intellect, right? But I'll pick Alert. Level 9, you don't get anything special, but you get level 3 spells. Conjure Barrage, sure, good spell. It's an alright spell. And it's a good time to replace any first level 1 spells that you're not going to be using. With Plant Growth. Again, this combos very well with darkness, guys. Check out plant growth, wild growth, grease. See which one you like most and then use that in combination with your darkness. Now, lightning arrow is okay, but the damage it does is kind of sucks. The smoke powder arrow does more damage than it. And that's a 3rd level spell you're giving up. It just feels a little bit anticlimactic. But it's probably going to be good against anything that has lightning vulnerability that is wet, essentially. So if you're playing a Storm Sorcerer build, then this could be a good spell to pick, right? On your Ranger level 10. Now, I have to say, guys, at this point of the game, I would respect and go into 11 levels of Ranger and then pick the Wizard level last. The power spike you get on level 11 is very strong. You also get another favored enemy and natural explorer. At this point, just make sure you get all the resistances. Whatever you find useful. And then on level 11, you get the Bestial Flurry, where your companion will get an extra attack. This is huge. This might not look great, but this is actually quite good. Effectively, you still have 4 attacks, right? It's just that your companions are doing their attacks, but they scale very well. So at this point, I might even pick the lightning arrow since it's an alright spell. Protection from energy is concentration, so I don't really like it. Daylight is a good spell to have, but it kind of counters your party because you want to be doing darkness. This is going to be a darkness build, right? So Daylight will effectively counter the rest of your party. So I don't like it for that reason. And now you're full build. This is a build. Okay. So it's time to show what the companions can do, right? From the companions, what I would recommend you do at the start of every day is that you summon a bear, not a boar. Now, as you can see, the bear is very tanky, 99 HP, and it can do a lot of damage. And it does extra damage on the targets you have Hunter's Mark on. High armor class, but to be honest, and the damage that it does is not bad, and it does have extra attack, right? And it can disarm enemies, so that's pretty good. But what I would do, I would use its action, assign reinforcements. It can only do that 1 per short rest, by the way. And then, once I've summoned the extra bear, which will be following you around in the city, but you cannot control it during combat. Just keep that in mind. Then I would take a quick short rest. If you're gonna be fighting in melee and you want a tank, bear is very strong. The wolf spider is also a good alternative. Yeah, so you can cocoon enemies, and they cannot move or take actions, bonus actions or reactions. So it's like a very strong permanent, 3 turn CC ability. You can still do the web, but yeah, it feels a little bit underwhelming in a spider. But the cocoon is a good option. It's a good option to have. Now, what I would recommend and what I believe is the most essential part for this build is to have the Raven companion. This is why we go with this build. This is the reason we go with this build. So, as you can see, we are keeping the Ursa Major that we summoned from our bear. So first time you start the day, summon the bear, get the extra companion, then summon the Raven. Now the Raven can actually use its action to summon 2 more Ravens, which again will follow you around. So now you have 5 companions following you around. But what is so special about this Raven? Whenever this Raven flies and lands, it creates an area of darkness for 2 turns. Now, if you guys know, Ravens get quite a lot of movement speed, so you can effectively, in 1 turn, with just your movement speed, create a lot of that, right? And then you can use your bonus action to dash. Do you remember when we talked about that? So, without even wasting your precious attacks, right? You get to basically create a lot of the area that is gonna be darkness, right? And okay, maybe the damage is not crazy good, but 2d4 plus 1d6 plus 2 is definitely not bad, and it gets extra attack, right? So it can do this twice. So it's probably good enough for damage. And again, you guys, you can dash and keep doing it. And remember, because you can fly, there's no real obstacle. So if an enemy has high ground against you, then you can still do it. Now, what is really cool here is that you can actually cast haste on the bird, and then it will double its movement speed. So you get a turn early on with the bird, you can cover the entire battlefield in darkness. And the coolest part about it is that you cannot be hit with an opportunity attack because the enemies are going to be blinded. And since they're blinded, they do not see you, and therefore you do not provoke an opportunity attack whenever you are doing this. So this is what you're going to be doing. Now, what is important to note here, guys, is that you need the Evershroud Ring. You need it. You cannot play this build without an Evershroud build, because you cannot actually shoot inside darkness if you do not have the Evershroud Ring. I've tried it with the Helldusk helmet. It doesn't allow you to shoot in darkness, so you need the Evershroud Ring. So if you plan on shooting in darkness, you need the Evershroud Ring. Where is it? Everside, I'm sorry, the Everside Ring. So now we can shoot inside the darkness. Okay, guys, so what you can effectively do, and you can do this during combat, drop 3 items. Well, not items. So as you can see, now we have high ground and get that bonus to our chance to hit. And you see, high ground gives us +2 on our chance to hit. And since we're Sharpshooter, it's really good to be able to do that. Because there's a lot of items in the game that are useful. The most important ones are the ones that allow you to see. So Everside Ring, you mustn't miss this. Then you have Gloves of Dexterity, etc. But because there's a lot of items, what I would do is I would pick any item that increases my range damage, my chance to hit, my chance to crit, the items that say while obscured are very useful on you, and anything that increases your armor class. So I'll very briefly itemize this character. So we need to find the Everside Ring first of all. Then protection, we have a heavy armor proficiency, so any heavy armor would do here. Now I do like the Hellrider's gloves, Helldusk gloves here, because they do extra damage on your ranged attacks. For boots, probably I would go for the evasive boots. Easy step boots could also work very well with you. Boots of speed also work with this build because you're not a rogue. Now for amulets, if you plan on concentrating, greater health is important because you don't have good constitution saving throws. So yeah, let's go with that. Then for rings, you already have that. Also, if you are playing a human, I would recommend wearing the ring that gives you dark vision. Because sometimes the darkness, you're gonna be able to see a name in it, but you're gonna have disadvantage, because I think that's a little bit of a bug. So it's good to wear that ring. Very risky ring. Yeah, probably Sunwalker's great. Oh, advantage ring. Yeah, that also works. But it's a little bit risky, as the name says. Yeah, this would be the build. Now let's go check it out, how it would work. So as you can see, the people are losing their minds over our summons, so it's not ideal. Now I would probably use Boo as fodder here, I'm sorry guys. But he has to tank the damage, yeah. So as you can see, we have very good crowd control. And as soon as the Raven gets a turn, this is gonna go even crazier. Okay, it's Raven's turn. So what we want to be doing is making areas of darkness, right? So jump here, then jump in the next area, obscure our knight. He can see now in the dark, and everyone else cannot. And we can use our bonus action to dash, so we can do more. Now we blinded the machine as well, so it, as you can see, we do not provoke opportunity attacks because they are blinded. And to do an opportunity attack, they need to be near someone that's not blinded. Now, we could do 2 attacks here, or we can continue, we can dash and continue with creating darkness areas. I like the concept of making another darkness area, and then since this guy is knocked down and blinded, we have advantage on our attacks. So yeah, we do 2 of those attacks. We could have dashed and done more, but yeah, this is 1 turn, right? We covered a big chunk of the battlefield with darkness. We are sitting in darkness and we can see, and everybody else is blinded. So we debuff the entire enemy team. So we could reposition here and do like a conjure barrage ranged, and that's gonna probably do quite some damage. And then run around in the darkness, which our enemies cannot see in, and then we hit them with advantage. So good. So very good. So this is how this build works, guys. And imagine if you have like a Shadow Monk that deals so much damage. And yeah, even when they do roll crazy damage numbers, you can just cast shield, right? And get your AC up to 27. Let me see. Yeah, 27 armor class, guys. Which it's not ridiculously high. Now, the Raven can summon the other Ravens again, right? So we have permanent summons, and it's really hard for anyone to kill our Raven, right? Because it's gonna be hiding in the dark. This is how it's gonna look like, guys. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this build. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.